It's about to get absolutely freaking crazy in this video. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and we have been covering Berserk, and today is no different. The only thing that's different is we're going to see absolute madness in this video. Not only do we get to see a glimpse of the origin of B, we also see the limits and the absolute mayhem his powers and abilities can cause. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into it because it's crazy. We pick up our story with B himself, having helped translate some of the documents he received from the doctor, only to realize that he saw something he recognized on the table. Looking to Professor Coldwell, he asked him, "What are you doing with this?" And the professor sat down and said, "Let me tell you a story about that artifact. Its history goes back to the days of black market sales being sold to the museum they had attacked in the earlier video for millions of dollars, but that was not its true origin. This one artifact has been owned by a lot of people, being also claimed by the Germans, yes, that era of Germany. But they too also claimed the artifact from somewhere that was not theirs, because that artifact was also claimed by a warrior who claimed that the artifact gave him good luck, but it still wasn't his. This artifact has traded hands, and its origin kept going further back till the era of Babylon itself, being gifted to the nation of Babylon's king. But during a war, that same king faced off against our man B himself, and B was doing his thing, going crazy, ripping people apart, until he lost his hand. But the fact that he didn't even skip a beat, he still kept butchering folks, and people just watched in amazement. One man in particular picked up his hand and kept it in a bag, looking to B and whispering, "God," making sure to keep B's hand for some selfish reason. And in the future, we see B open that big-ass pendant, only to find a decrepit finger, his hand. The professor apologizes for the sorry state of his hand, explaining further that your hand has been boiled, it has been smoked, it has been injected, and most of all, it has been worshipped. You, my friend, are the start of a cult. But B wasn't even surprised. Honestly, he knows a few cults that have come to worship him over the years. But he was shocked that the professor knew. But most of all, he wanted to know why he knew, asking the professor how he knew this. And surprise, surprise, the professor's father was actually a descendant from that man who stole that bag. His whole line is dedicated to finding immortality for themselves, and he will kill anybody, everybody, just to get that one goal. Man, woman, friend, family, he don't care. He kills everybody. And that is why the US government reached out to him, because they knew his obsession was strong. If anyone could solve this mystery, it would be him. And he was close, really close, being able to map down the exact region of B's creation from stories and research. But most of all, he wanted B to know that his life wasn't a waste. It was honestly because of him man was forced to evolve. And this alone made B think about all the trials he's been through, every single terror, and he honestly didn't believe it. But the professor made sure to remind B, you have perfect memory. I mean perfect. You are trying to forget. You need to stop, pointing at a statue with foreign text that only him could read. You know about civilizations long since past, civilization that people think are a mystery today. But B wasn't impressed. How does this help me die? You are wasting my time, Professor. And the professor simply replied, well, if you want speed, we could always use Protocol X. And B asked, what the hell is Protocol X? And the professor goes on to explain, well, it is very uncomfortable, I could promise you that. And B said, I'm down as long as I get to die. And so we see what exactly Protocol X was. It was him being buried literally miles into the ground, because his last explosion introduced a new element, a new form of energy that the US government thinks could be the key for his eternal life. After clearing the whole area, they used communicators to tell him, unleash your thoughts, remember your pain. And really, he really did, unleashing every single sorrowful moment in his life, pulling on the pain of being an immortal, forced to walk this earth alone, watching the people he loves die. We see a flux of new energy, strong, destructive, black lightning vibrating through the floors. This was a sight, such a sight that the professor wanted to see with his own eyes, stepping out of the vehicle. But what he didn't expect was the lightning coming towards him at such speeds. It was practically invincible. But the energy wasn't coming for him or his bodyguard, no. The energy was going for the psychiatrist. The energy consumed her, striking her with such force she levitated before crashing into the floor. But while all this played out, the professor, he was calm, like he expected this to happen. And outside the vehicle, it was way worse, like an atomic bomb had gone off. So, the professor commanded the doctor be sealed and taken back to headquarters, while he went to check on B. With just this experiment alone, he had lost 100 people, but he didn't care because now he's seeing results. Seeing the absolute carnage that was done by B in itself was a terrifying sight. He was dangerous, but the professor didn't care. Approaching B's box, he simply bent over and typed in the code, but when he opened up, B was gone. B's body was gone. Where was he, we might ask? We see that he's not dead, no, he was remembering with pure energy, remembering his birth, remembering the day he was conceived. And then he went further back. Using his perfect memory, he remembered where his energy came from. He remembered the days before his conception. He remembered how it felt to be sent to his mother's womb. He remembered how he was created. He remembered his father. While he was remembering, the scientists were trying to figure out where he was. But like I said, the professor, he was too calm. He knew this was all going to happen. His superiors were not happy. They had just lost an asset that could not die. But the professor made them understand that these energy readings have given them a map to the energy that powers him itself. Now he can be cloned. Now his blood can be studied. We may have lost him for the time being, but we gained a lot. They didn't care though. They wanted their asset back. But the professor simply said, well, you can't have him back because B is now in the quantum realm. He has transcended time and space. Right now, B was searching for his father. And while he did that, the professor had another plan in motion. Because if you're wondering, he was smart enough to plan for if this happened. And we see what that plan was. Typing in on his keyboard and tapping on the glass. We see who was reaching out to. It was the professor herself, Diana. The professor was trying to wake her up. But as soon as she opened her eyes, something was different. She looked exactly like B. Another person with abilities has been born.